Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're a first-time viewer, my name is Jeff Lanowski. Today we're gonna talk about jumps, how to stay low and how to go high, and why you want to master both techniques to jump safely. So let's pad up, put on some flat-soled shoes if you got them, and go over some tips so that this doesn't happen to you. So you might be asking yourself, why do you need to be able to jump high or low? To understand that, let's talk about the anatomy of a jump. You'll always have a lip or a takeoff. You'll usually have a landing. And when you ride at a jump, you're traveling in a horizontal direction. The jump wants to send you vertical. Mellow lips send you further. Medium ones send you medium. And a steep lip will send you high. But there's another super important part of a jump, and that's the run-in. That's where you need to preload your bike and determine whether or not you want to minimize or maximize the trajectory of the jump. Now you have a lip, and like I said, you usually have a landing. In between those two, you have a distance. Sometimes it's a tabletop, sometimes it could be a double with a gap in between. And the reason I like using these two wooden ramps is because you could scale these out and make them as small or as close as you want. And you can work on that progression as you get more and more confident. Making it from the lip to the landing of a jump takes a certain amount of time. Now, if you learned how to go high or low, you can adjust for that speed. If you're going fast, you're covering distance quicker, so you'll want to stay low to avoid over jumping the landing. If you're going slow, it'll take longer to go that distance, so you'll want to go high to give yourself more air time to make it to the landing. If you were to ride into the lip of the jump and do absolutely nothing, you'd probably flip over the handlebars and crash, but also the only thing determining whether or not you made it from the lip to the landing is your speed going into it, because that's going to tell how far you travel over a set amount of time. Actually, I have a really good idea how to demonstrate this to you. Hang on. All right, well, I said this is a really good idea. It might be actually a really stupid idea, but I think it'll demonstrate to you the difference between just riding your bike and being a passenger on it, or having some input on whether or not you go high or low. So here's the idea. If I roll just the tire at the ramp, there's no input from a rider. Second time's a charm. So if your speed isn't correct, your jump's probably not gonna go like you hoped. Last week I made a video riding this ramp with my friends, and we pushed it to some pretty far distances, and we did it safely by using speed and height to control the length of our jumps. Let's talk about how we did it. Remember when I said one of the most important parts of the jump is the run-in? That's this area. You should be coasting with your pedals level, and as you approach the jump, you want to preload your bike and rise up. I'm going to skip the jump, but the timing will look like this. Here's me preloading for a jump I plan to stay low on, and here's when I plan to boost. Looks exactly the same, right? That's because it's immediately after that point that you'll absorb the energy and stay low, or magnify it and go high. This is your body position when you leave the lip. Staying low on the left, going high on the right. Can you tell the difference? All right, so when you watch those videos, you see that as you start to approach the ramp and you get to about this point, everything on both techniques is exactly the same. This area right here is where you tell your bike, listen, I'm not gonna be a passenger. I'm in charge of this machine, and I'm determining the path that this thing flies. So right here is where you're standing centered, you're coasting into the lip, your knees are bent, you're centered over your bottom bracket, and you start to dip down. The reason that you dip down is because you need to come up, and you can't come up unless you dip down. So you're dipping into the bike, and then you're starting to press up. Now, if you're going into the ramp super fast, or if it's a really short ramp, that preload could be a pretty quick preload. If it's a really long ramp, or if it's a really slow ramp, that preload is gonna be a little bit slower. You're basically looking at the ramp and trying to time it so that you're unweighted when you get to the top of the ramp. When you change speeds leading into a ramp, it's gonna feel differently. The same ramp at a medium speed might feel nice and comfortable. If you go twice as fast, that ramp is gonna feel super steep. And if you go into that same ramp slow, it's gonna feel nice and mellow. So that's another reason why the sucking it up and absorbing the energy technique of going into a ramp when you're going extra fast works kind of good, because it allows you to dissipate some of that energy that the ramp is throwing up at you. And when you're going a little bit slower, everything slows down and it really gives you the opportunity to pop a ramp nice and high. All right, guess what? I think I thought of another way to demonstrate some of the physics of these jumps, and it includes this hook. I'm a trials rider, so I shouldn't need this, but let me show you what it's for. All right, so I can promise you that I've never seen this in a bike jumping how-to, and I would think that you probably haven't either. So when I get on my bike, like I said, this is pretty much decision time right here. If I'm looking to stay low and squash this jump, my elbows are gonna be more bent, my chest is gonna be more forward, and I'm gonna have some bend in my knees. That's gonna allow everything to just be supple, and I'm trying to suck up all the upward force that I feel when I ride into a jump. So that riding position is gonna be more like this. Bent elbows, chest forward, looking at the landing. My knees are a little bit bent, and I'm just being real supple and sucking up that energy that the ramp is giving me in an upward direction. Now, if I wanna go high and amplify it, I need to do the opposite. I wanna have my legs straight and I wanna press into the ramp. When my front wheel leaves the lip, the natural tendency is for it to go away and to start falling. So I wanna keep my elbows straight and pull it back to keep that upward trajectory. So when I'm trying to boost a ramp, body position is gonna be much more like this, where my legs are straight and firm, not locked out, but really pushing in through the cranks. My body position is at a 90-degree angle to the riding surface. If it's a super steep lip, you know, you'll have to come forward a little bit. But on something mellow, you're trying to stay pretty close to perpendicular. And then my arms are straight. That's because I'm pulling back on the handlebars so that as I leave the lip, giving everything I can to maximize the boost out of that ramp. In case you were wondering, it doesn't balance on its own. That was pure trials rider balance right there. All right, something else worth mentioning. I keep talking about going high and low in order to achieve the proper distance between a set of jumps. Sometimes you'll just come across jumps that are designed to be either jumped far, and whether or not you could go high, it's just not gonna work because it's a really mellow lip and a really mellow landing, and you just have to go really far. And then you might also come across some kind of jumps that have really steep takeoffs and really steep landings. And in those situations, staying low isn't gonna work either, because it's really easy to overjump those steeper landings. The steeper the landing is, the more important it is to go high so that you match that landing when you come down. So that's another reason why you're gonna wanna try to master these two techniques. So after hundreds and hundreds of repetitions, it'll start to be ingrained in your head that when you come into a lip, if you're going a little bit slower, you could pop that jump for height, and then that's gonna put you in the air longer, so that the distance that you would normally travel off of that lip, if you were going too slow, it might not be enough distance. So if you go higher, it extends your air time and it'll allow you to make the landing. Now, if you come into a lip of a jump and you're going super fast, that same lip might put you in the air too high for that speed, and you'd completely overshoot the landing. So by sucking up that lip, it'll allow you to shorten the amount of time that you're in the air and safely make it from the lip to the landing. These are things that take a ton of repetitions. The more you do it, the more you'll be able to ride into different lips and do those micro calculations in your head and just know whether or not you need to pull up or push down to make that lip match the landing. All right, thanks for checking out the video. I hope it was entertaining and informative. If you want some online coaching or some more personal interaction, I just started a Patreon page. It gives you access to a private Facebook group where you can share videos or ask questions directly to me or a group of like-minded riders that are looking to improve their technical riding skill. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. And until next time, get out there and be a boss.